What's up? Brian Tong here, and this is my Apple Watch Series 6 review. And before I put this out, I really wanted to spend a lot of time with it. Get it? No? Okay, well, we're off to a great start here because the Apple Watch is one of my favorite Apple devices of all time. But even if it is, I still didn't upgrade from a Series 4 to a Series 5. So did Apple do enough for me to upgrade from a Series 4 to a Series 6? And for all you watching, what makes the most sense for you? You know, we're not going to ignore the fact that there's also an Apple Watch SE to choose from. And we're going to get into all of that, but let's start off with the improvements in the Series 6. And I'll talk about what stands out, what matters, and what doesn't. Now, the new Apple Watch Series 6 looks exactly the same. The design and the screen sizes are exactly the same as the Series 5 and then the Series 4 before that. In fact, the thing that makes the Series 6 feel the most different is the new colors with the product red and the blue aluminum cases. Plus, there's an updated gold stainless steel and then a new graphite stainless steel color. Then you add in the new solo loops with their different colors made out of either rubber or the braided one, which they do look really slick, but they do have some issues getting the fit right from home. Now for me, cosmetics is really the biggest difference in the Apple Watch Series 6. And for some people, you know, that's all you need to upgrade because this is not only a piece of tech, but it is also a piece of fashion. And, you know, I'm all for that. I'll be the first to admit that product red is just pretty tempting to go for, you know, just to mix things up as a longtime user. But under the hood, the Series 6 brings in the all-new S6 chipset based on the A13 Bionic with a 20% performance boost from the Series 5. Apple Watch performance is already so good, and its apps are really lightweight, so if you're getting a Series 6, this is really going to come in handy in, let's say, year 2, year 3, or longer of its life if you want to future-proof it as long as possible, and I know those of you who do that every year. We also have the always-on display. This is 2.5 times brighter from the Series 5, but it still doesn't make that much of a difference for me because the watch face, look, in a lot of these instances, it's smaller when you first take a peek, and then it expands to fill out the screen. So if you have a lot of complications or maybe a watch face with smaller details, it's just too hard for me to make out anything in that 1 second of time that it takes to fill out the screen. I still didn't think it made a significant difference for me with everyday use compared to how fast the display turns on with my Series 4. Now, a real-time altimeter displays your elevation change. This will be useful for the active lifestyle crowd, but it still doesn't make a big difference for the general Apple Watch user who might not even know it exists. And come on now, if we're being real here, how many of you even use your compass in the Series 5 regularly? Okay, I know one of you just wrote in the comments, there's a compass in the Series 5? Because yes, there is. Now, the Series 6's biggest new health feature is the new blood oxygen sensor, and you'll see the sensor underneath the new Apple Watch. It's now different looking to accommodate it. Right now, you can manually check your blood oxygen level by using the app. It takes about 15 seconds. You got to keep your wrist level, and it does have to be snug and tight. Now, it also can take measurements, you know, in the background for you even when you're sleeping, but there's no tool that really combines that data to reveal trends or big insights for you. And I know my health situation is not the same as yours, but for me, this didn't change my Apple Watch usage, and I didn't miss it at all after going for, a week straight on the Series 6 and then going back to my Series 4. And I'm thinking most of you will feel the same way. If I'm wrong, hey, that's what the comments are for. And I'm not saying that it's worthless. It might help give you an indication when you might need to see a professional depending on your overall health, but blood oxygen monitoring isn't as accurate on your wrists compared to your fingertips, so this can potentially help with warning signs, but you're still going to need more accurate tools. Now, Apple, they told us they're even running research experiments with hospitals and organizations to see how this can be more useful to measure other health metrics in the future, like asthma and heart failure, or how blood oxygen levels are connected to COVID and influenza. But those findings, and then turning them into practical features, won't be available for at least another year or so. So for me, the blood oxygen monitor is nice to have. We have some Fitbits and Samsung's Galaxy Watch 3, they have it. So it is one of those features that you have to include to be in that conversation with the latest health sensors, especially for Apple, that's considered to be the best smartwatch in the market. But it hasn't proven itself to be a crucial must-have feature for me right now until it can become more useful down the road. Now, VO2 Max is another health feature coming later in the year with an update from Apple. That measures your motion and heart rate to warn you of lower cardio fitness levels and is a predictor of your overall health, so we're gonna have to see how that's implemented. Now, Apple has all the fitness health sensors available today on the Series 6, but after using it back and forth with my Series 4 for about 2 weeks, I didn't use my Series 6 any different than my Series 4. And it's also the first Apple Watch with a U1 chip for ultra wideband, and we know it'll be part of Apple's Find My app for location tracking, but we're waiting on Apple to give us the official details for that really soon as well. You'll also get all the benefits of watchOS 7 on the new Series 6, and it supports as far back as the Series 3, although not all the watch faces are available on Series 3. And Apple's been talking a whole lot about their new sleep tracking feature because it's been really one of the areas where other competitors and third-party apps have done so much better than them here. But unfortunately, the sleep app, it just isn't a great sleep tracker with great metrics. It's more like a sleep trainer that tells you when to go to sleep. I think of it like the adult that tells you to go to bed when you were a kid, except now your watch is telling you the same thing, but now you're all grown up, unless you're still a kid watching this. Now, the sleep app measures when you go to sleep, when you wake up, and how much rest you got, but that's pretty much it. You can't see any in-depth breakdown of your sleep cycle when you hit REM or anything like that. It is just as basic as you can get. And to me, it's really disappointing compared to everything else out there on the market. There's been a lot of pent-up demand for Apple to do something, but they kept it simple. Now, the other reality is that most people don't even sleep with their watch on, but for those that were hoping for an in-depth sleep tool, you're just not gonna find it here. Now, I'm gonna shift to fitness here a little bit with the Apple Watch. watchOS 7 now tracks new types of workouts like dance, functional strength training, you got core training, and then a post-workout cool down. But the biggest change that has made me use my Apple Watch differently is its latest integration with the new Peloton Bike Plus. Now, I feel lucky that I have one. Sean and I got it because we're just not going to a gym anytime soon. But the fact that the Apple Watch can now sync to its variety of classes through GymKit to track my heart rate and activity, this is huge. And Peloton bikes have always been an Android OS device that could never do this before. You don't need a new Series 6 watch to do this. And I do know that everyone does not have a Peloton Bike Plus, but it's unlocked this new feature that was timed right around the same time as the Series 6 release. And this is a big deal for Apple Watch owners that overlap with Peloton owners. But now, Apple won't talk about this because they're waiting to launch their new Apple Fitness Plus platform. And this might be really the most interesting move that they have ever made related to the Apple Watch. Now, it's coming out later this year, and you know that I'll be reviewing it, but this new fitness platform is gonna unlock a whole new world for people to stay in shape from the comfort of their home, especially during these times. Really, like, what's more genius is that you'll be able to see your real-time metrics from your Apple Watch on screen while you're taking different types of classes offered by Apple Fitness Plus. Now, it's compatible with iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV, so you basically have a fitness studio with you anywhere you go or anywhere at home. This is just gonna be so easy to jump into, and you're gonna get 3 months free when you buy a new Apple Watch. It's $9.99 a month or $79.99 for a year, but it can also be shared between 5 other family members. That's a steal if you know how much gym memberships and then even individual classes cost. This is a platform that will complement the new Series 6. It complements the SE, even if you're an owner of a Series 3, 4, and 5. But this has huge potential to be a success. Look, I'm an active person, and if the instructors and classes just make you want to keep coming back, this is going to be an instant winner, especially in these current times. And this is just another way that's going to enhance kind of an added bonus for people that own Apple Watches. All right, let's talk about the new watch bands. And you've probably heard about the issues for measuring your correct solo loop size. Now, since most of us are doing it at home and many stores aren't open, it just hasn't been the smoothest system. So I would say try for at least one size lower than you are based on the measuring tool that Apple offers online, where you cut this piece of paper and then you wrap it around your wrist. But if you're looking for the braided loop, I found that to be even a little looser than the way the rubber solo loop fits at that same size. So you might even want to try 2 sizes down for that one. And I said it earlier, the biggest thing that makes the Series 6 feel different are the new colors and the new loops. Now, Apple Watch Series 6 starts at $399 for an aluminum case model. It jumps up to $699 starting price for the stainless steel models, and then prices are gonna vary depending on your watch band that you pick. Now, if you're the type of person that just wants to get the latest model Series 6, you will, and you just upgrade every year. You probably already did it, and I think it's still a great upgrade for anyone with a Series 3 or earlier, but look, I'm a Series 4 guy, and I know its main differences from that generation, which is 2 generations ago. You have the always-on screen on the Series 6. You got the S6 chip, the U1 chip, and then the blood oxygen sensor. But I really waited on this review just a little longer to see if I would actually miss anything from the Series 6 to the Series 4. And I didn't at all. Like the Series 4 performance and speed, it felt pretty much exactly the same. I couldn't tell the difference. The battery life using watchOS 7 is still the same. I end up with about 30% left by the end of the day. I used the blood oxygen monitor 2 or 3 times on Series 6 because you're gonna be curious about that feature. But after that, I never got any health notifications related to it. It's really invisible in the background, so when I went back to my Series 4, I didn't miss it. And the biggest thing I probably actually missed was the fact that Apple removed Force Touch from the Series 6, and I'm an avid Apple Watch user, so having Force Touch made it easier to use. The only place that you have a long press left now that works is if you want to change your watch face, you do a long press, it works there. So that means that they could have replaced Force Touch with a long press everywhere in watchOS 7 if they wanted to, but they didn't. And I know not everyone used Force Touch or even knew it existed, but I use it a lot and I know I'm not the only one. So, I'm not telling you to not get a Series 6. That's your choice because it's still the best smartwatch out there. Your health situation is likely different than mine, and that might require you to get a Series 6 or you just want the newest Apple Watch. But the difference from a Series 4 to a 6 was just not enough for me to make an upgrade with the way that I use the Apple Watch. And that's also really a testament to how great of a product it already is. Also, though, the color red matters, and you could call me superficial, but I love fashion and style matters, so I'm gonna let you know I will be keeping the Series 6 as a tech reviewer, and I swear that I'm not using that as an excuse because I do wanna see how it works with the U1 chip and the refreshed Find My app platform from Apple. Guess what? That's part of my job, and maybe that pushes me over the edge to wholeheartedly recommend the Series 6 eventually. We'll find out. Plus, we still have to see how VO2 Max ends up integrating into it as well. Now, I didn't upgrade from a Series 4 to a Series 5, and I'll tell you right now, I just don't feel the urgency or any compelling reason for the need to upgrade to a Series 6. Even watchOS 7 arguably makes a bigger difference than the Series 6 hardware does with your day-to-day use. All right, so now if you're deciding on getting an Apple Watch for the very first time, or let's say you own a Series 3 or earlier, most people, they're gonna be more than okay with the Apple Watch SE at $279. It's basically an Apple Watch Series 4 without the ECG and with a compass for $279. And this is the same exact design as the 6, right? The 4 and 5, it has that same design. It runs on the S5 chipset from the Series 4 and 5. It won't have the always-on display, which I don't miss. It won't have the blood oxygen sensor. It won't have the U1 chip, but it has fall detection, which is arguably the most crucial feature out of all of those. I think it's an absolutely great value at their mid-range price point, and it just gives you everything you absolutely need in an Apple Watch. And I would recommend every person to just seriously consider the Apple Watch SE first before they even look at the Series 6. Again, that's just how great the product is. Honestly, Apple's doing this to themselves because the overwhelming majority of you all are gonna be just as happy with an Apple Watch SE as you would be with the Series 6. Now, if you're curious about the Series 3 at $199, I think it's still a quality product, and if your budget is tighter, then it's a solid option. But if you can, I'd like to push you up. You'll be better off in the long run with the SE. You got the newer design, the larger screen, and the faster processor. But the SE has really changed the dynamic of the Apple Watch product line by giving people a quality choice that's not at the high end. But let's just get back to why you're here. The Apple Watch Series 6 is still the best smartwatch on planet Earth. There is just no disputing that, especially if you're an Apple user, because those are the only ones that can use it. But it is still one of my favorite devices from Apple all time, and it absolutely got better. But from my perspective, if you own a Series 4 or 5, the new Series 6 didn't do enough for me to tell you that it's the Apple Watch that you should absolutely upgrade to this year. And if you own a Series 3 or earlier, hey, look at the SE before the Series 6. But if you just want a new fun color look, product red, the blue, they look poppin', and I'm the last person who's gonna stop you from buying what makes you feel good inside. And you know that I still love the Apple Watch. It's an amazing product, but I'm just waiting for it to really take its next big leap before I upgrade. So Apple, I'm waiting because you all made the Series 4 too good.